Happy Thursday. This is our Friday. This is our last stream of the week. I'm not a breakfast food guy. Realize that. I was just thinking about that, and I realized it. I try to make sure I have at least 12 hours before I have breakfast. And 12 hours since I ate last. I had a smoothie at around 9:30 p.m. Pacific time last night. So, I was like, I don't really want to have breakfast before the stream. I'll just wait until after. And then I realized nothing breakfast wise really appealed to me all that much anyway. I usually just have a banana or something. What's up, Karen? Good to see you. What's up, Jeremy? What's up, Brandon? Good to see everybody. Good morning or good afternoon or good evening. I don't know what time zone everyone's in. Chris Walker, how are you? Good to see you. Hope all is well. And by the way, Lucy's here. I think you can see her over the lower third there, but Lucy is chilling right here. I'm petting her as we speak. And let's all wish her a happy Black Cat Appreciation Day. Black Cat Appreciation Day is officially going on what's the day? Saturday. Saturday is official Black Cat Appreciation Day. But I don't stream on Saturdays, so this is the big opportunity to wish Lucy a happy Black Cat Appreciation Day right now. Lucy, do you want to? Here, let me see. Can they see you? Can you guys see her? You can't really see her. Here, Lucy, perk up a little. There. See? She was just chilling there. And she's like, yeah, she's, you get it. She's here. She was like, I was enjoying laying down. I don't know why you had to mess with me. I was kind of happy the way I was. I don't know what your deal is. But this is the big. Karen, thank you for the wishes. Lucy with a bunch of hearts. That's a happy Black Cat Appreciation Day wish. I'll take it. What's up, Austin? I hope everybody is doing incredibly well. So, guys, song of the day. It's the end of another week. It's Thursday. Song of the day. Every now and again, I do a classic. And it's the end of the week. It's Thursday. It's summertime. It's beautiful. There's some really bad news today, and there's some really good news today, like every day, I guess. But song of the day, I got to go with a classic because I was driving in my car, listening to Sirius XM. My favorite station is Little Steven's Underground Garage. Really like that station. And a classic came on. Song by a guy named Little Richard called Lucille. And I heard that song, and man, that's a song I've been listening to for years and years. It's a classic, but it's that song as I was driving. I'm just driving along, dealing with Los Angeles traffic. But do you ever have one of those situations where you just have a moment of silence in your mind, where all of a sudden you just kind of put everything on hold and you just focus on the music that's being played, and you're just like, wow, that is something special. That's how I feel about the Little Richard song, about Little Richard in general, really. But the song Lucille, when you hear him belt it out, Lucille, you hear love, you hear passion, you hear desperate longing, you hear sex. You hear it all in this powerful voice where you just kind of take a step back and be like, was this guy human? This is an alien from another planet embodying everything that is rock and roll music and singing with this passion. Little Richard, an amazing talent. And that song, Lucille, he's got a lot of fantastic songs, but Lucille, especially when he's belting it out, Lucille, it's unreal. It's superhuman. And keep in mind that they were a little limited with what they had as far as recording technology went compared to today. So you can only imagine what it was like hearing that voice in the room. Just imagine recording that song. Man, to be a fly on the wall in Memphis in the 50s or in Chicago or in the studio with Little Richard and hearing him belt that out. And be like, man, we are on to something special. And they called it rock and roll just so they could get it on the radio. It was rhythm and beat. But, Back in those days, people associated rhythm and beat with black artists, and they didn't want those black artists on the radio. So a guy named Alan Freed in Cleveland called it rock and roll, and he played those artists. It's an amazing, it's really, when you think about the history of rock and roll, it is just so, in so many ways, it has such a brutal history rooted in a lot of the problems that we've had in America. But in other ways, it's really inspiring because we've overcome, the music was able to overcome all of those obstacles, going all the way back to slavery, really, going all the way back to slaves using different gumshoe rhythms to communicate with each other. That's what led to the blues, which led to rock and roll. And Little Richard belting it out. And you think about all that history, about all that, the overcoming of it all due to the love, just the love engulfed in that music. Man, Little Richard, Lucille, that's the song of the day. I'm sure you've heard that song before. I'm sure many of you have. If you haven't, you're in for a treat. If you have, now's a good day to revisit it. Little Richard, Lucille. You hear that song and you say, rock and roll really can save. I know it saved me, and it still does. All right. Little Richard, Lucille. What a voice. What a voice. Wow. All right. So here's some news for today. This is trending right now. Edwin brings this to us. Israel denies entry to Representatives Omar and Tlaib amid Trump's push for such a move. So caught between the opposing views of President Trump and Democratic leaders, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reversed himself on Thursday and decided to prohibit Representatives Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib from visiting Israel during a trip scheduled to start Sunday. Keep in mind, Omar and Tlaib were among the representatives who went against the anti-BDS resolution. They were the ones who went against that, who were not for that. All right. So now the move followed an unusual intervention by Trump. So the Democratic Party is against Israel doing this. They're saying that Israel should not be doing this. Here's what Trump had to say about it. Trump weighed in Thursday morning on the impending decision, writing on Twitter, "It would show great weakness if Israel allowed Representative Omar and Representative Tlaib to visit. Listen to this. They hate Israel and all Jewish people, and there is nothing that can be said or done to change their minds." A president said this about his colleagues. A president said they hate Israel and all Jewish people, and there is nothing that can be done to change their minds. What a horrible, atrocious thing for a president to say about his colleagues. And not only is it a horrible thing, it's completely untrue. Again, this makes it seem like criticizing the Israeli government, the right-wing, brutal Israeli government, criticizing that government and anti-Semitism are the same thing. They are not. They are not the same thing at all. They are completely different things. It'd be like saying criticizing the war economy in America means you hate all Americans. Doesn't make any sense at all. And yet Trump makes this statement. And keep in mind, one of the themes that we talk about on shows like this is that Trump is an embodiment of the disgusting nature of our system. Our problems didn't start when Trump showed up. Trump's the result of our system. Trump is a symptom of a much bigger disease. So all Trump is doing is parroting something that our media has been propagating for a long time now. You can't criticize the Israeli government, or that means you're anti-Semitic. That makes 0 sense. 0 sense. And we all know that makes 0. I know I'm preaching to the choir right now. I'm stating the obvious. But our media propagates that. All Trump does is he says it in a less subtle manner. He is the unmasked version of our system. He is the unmasked version of the GOP. He is everything the GOP stands for. They are a fascist right-wing party. And in some cases, he's aligned with the Democrats, who are at best a center right-wing party. I think in some ways calling them a center right-wing party is too generous. They're a right-wing party. So you get stuff like this when you have a corporate media that holds up the needs of the 1% and nothing else, and is totally in bed with the Israeli government. Because we both have the same wishes on the international stage. And when I say we, I mean the Israeli government and the United States government. When you have a system like that, it eventually leads to a president who makes these horrible, disgusting statements about his colleagues, saying that just because they oppose what the Israeli government is doing, just because they call out AIPAC for its corruption, that means they're anti-Semitic. That's beyond ridiculous. Beyond ridiculous. But yet a president made that statement about his colleagues, and now they're not going to Israel now. So there you go. This is our system at work. All right. So thank you for that is breaking right now. So another thing that's going on. And by the way, our first article came from the Washington Post, and this one does as well. Democracy dies in darkness. They're doing what they can to help. Guys, apparently we're due for a recession. That's something folks have been talking about. Apparently a recession is coming. In fact, I'll share this week's news and poem with you because I got it done. And this one's a fun one. I kind of like this one. So let me share it with you. Here, hold on. Let me find it here. Here we go. A recession's on the way, and that's nothing new. The right says if you're underpaid, the ones at fault is you. CBS and Viacom merged. Not much we can do. If big cable gets their way, our open internet's through. Boom. That's this week's news and poem. It's a dark one. All right. So here we go. Stocks losses deepen as a key recession warning surfaces. Recession signals intensified Wednesday in the United States and some of the world's leading economies as the damage from acrimonious trade wars is becoming increasingly apparent on multiple continents. The U.S. stock market tumbled to its worst day of the year on Wednesday after a reliable predictor of looming recessions flashed for the first time since the run-up to the 2008 financial crisis. The stock market is going down. Quick, get your cufflinks and a lot of cocaine. We got work to do, they said on Wall Street as they ran back to their penthouse mansions. But anyway, what's going on with this recession? Two of the world's largest economies, Germany and the United Kingdom, appear to be contracting even as the latter forges ahead with plans to leave the European Union. Growth has also slowed in China, which is in a bitter trade feud with the U.S. Meanwhile, Argentina's stock market fell nearly 50% earlier this week after its incumbent president was defeated by a left-wing opponent. So, gee, you know how we prevent these recessions, according to Paul Ryan? We just give all these entities more money. Well, we completely deregulated everything. We took all rules away. Horrible things are still happening. Let's throw more money at it. And if need be, here in the U.S., you better believe it, we'll bail Wall Street out. But here we go towards another recession. Yet you hear all these cherry-picked statistics about how the economy's great. The economy where people are not paid living wages, where people are working multiple jobs to survive, where people are underemployed or a part of the gig economy, and they're just factored in as having steady employment. Where tons of people in this country can't afford a $500 emergency. If a family member dies and that person lives out of town, they can't afford to go to a funeral. Where there's crippling amounts of student loan debt all over the place. And if you want to get a higher education, you're going to go into debt doing it. Where bankruptcies, the leading cause of bankruptcy is healthcare bills that can't be paid. What do you know? We keep on having recessions. And also, we still have all this going on. This is what rugged, unchecked neoliberalism gets you. And by the way, this is what capitalism has always and will always do. There's this video I recommend to everybody. It's called The History of Capitalism, and it's by I think it's like School of Now or something like that. You can find it on YouTube, where they just talk about how every time capitalism has been experimented with, the same thing happens, where you get this uncontrolled this just totally unchecked rich and poor gap that's a completely ridiculous, and you get just predatory policy, and you get people that cannot get a leg up at all. And then at the end, they're just like, can we find a way to do this ethically? Every time capitalism's been tried, the same thing happens over and over again. Can we do this? No, you can't, because that's what it's set up to do. It's a dog eat dog, I get mine, screw everybody else system. That's what it is. That's definitionally what it is. And when people like Bono from U2, who are totally clueless, go in public and say capitalism has lifted more people out of poverty than any other ism, that's a straight up lie. That's not true. You know what lifts people out of poverty? Charitable acts. Charitable acts happen in spite of capitalism, not because of it. He's basically saying, hey, we need to have really, 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 really rich people so that maybe they give poor people a little something. And they might, if it won't affect them at all and give them a tax break, they might give poor people a trickle because it's a tax break for them. They might just do that. Although a lot of them are paying zero in taxes anyway, so maybe they don't even need or want that tax break. Maybe they're just doing it out of the goodness of their heart. See, Lucy's excited about this. She's like, yeah, exactly. Who would make such a dumb statement? Bono from U2, that's who. So there you go. We're due for another recession anyway. Next time, they're telling you how great the economy is under Trump, and they point to stuff like the stock market. Guess what? We're heading into a recession anyway. And that would be happening whether Trump was in the White House or somebody else. But guess what? We're going into a recession anyway. So you can't defend this administration. Why? Because this administration is carrying on the status quo, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. All right, so we're due for another recession. Buckle in. And as the news and poem said, a recession's on the way, and that's nothing new. All right, so here's something. Man. Now, if you speak out against the Israeli government, you speak out against AIPAC, you speak about money and politics and brutality and corruption, then you're shamed by the president of the United States, and you're not able to go different places like Israel. But if you do stuff what this guy does, interesting. Here we go. Here's what Steve King had to say recently. You guys probably heard about this already. U.S. Rep. Steve King over in Iowa, if not for rape and incest, would there be any population left? He said this. All right. U.S. Representative Steve King told the West Side Conservative Club on Wednesday that humanity might not exist if not for rape and incest. What if we went back through all the family trees and just pulled those people out that were products of rape and incest? Would there be any population of the world left if we did that? He said at an event in Urbandale, Iowa. Considering all the wars and all the rapes and pillages taking place and whatever happened to culture after society, I know I can't certify that I'm not a part of a product of that. The Chiron Republican was defending his position of not allowing exceptions for rape and incest in the anti-abortion legislation he tried to pass in Congress. Republican leadership had prevented the bills he sponsored on banning abortions from advancing through the House, despite GOP support for the measures. Wow. And that was his logic. Hey, a lot of rape and incest happened throughout history. We should make people have the baby now. Hey, why don't we use leeches anymore when we treat people for healthy conditions? We did that so often throughout history. Imagine if all the people who were treated with leeches weren't able to breed. Hey, why don't we just carry around axes and think of if all the people who carried around axes weren't able to breed, think about what a crazy, ridiculous sentiment to say. Wow. That guy, he's an elected official who said that in public who made such a ridiculous rape apologist statement in public. He's an elected official. And as Dave Anthony pointed out on Twitter, by the way, the state that he represents, they set the tone for the election. And I'm not saying that, of course, Steve King does not represent all the people of Iowa. I know that. But man, that guy somehow gets into office making insane statements like that. And by the way, I believe even Meghan McCain said that that was ridiculous. But will anything happen to this guy? I don't know. People are calling on him to resign. Let's see if anything changed as of this morning. Did Steve King resign? I'm sure he didn't, but we'll try to just check up in real time. Now, bipartisan calls, or people are calling for him to resign. Democrats and Republicans are apparently they're calling on him to resign. What a crazy, crazy statement to make. I mean, you can't even like, oh, well, you look at horrible things that happen throughout history. So why would we want those horrible things to stop? Why? What? Are you insane? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. I mean, the fact that we're still talking about abortion as if it is just some black and white issue is beyond me. It's beyond me that we still haven't evolved further than that, where, hey, you don't like abortions, here's an idea, don't get one. There you go. If you're against it, you don't. No one's forcing it upon anyone. It's just, hey, if you're a woman and you're in that situation, you have a choice. You have the right to choose. That's your right because it's your body. Steve King. Wow. Crazy. Oh, I think I just had an I can't even moment. Is that what I had there? I had an I can't even moment for Steve King. Like he actually said that. And who prepped him on this? Like, who did he run this by? Does he have people who work for him where he runs it by him first? And nobody was like, you know what, dude, I feel like that's going to come off kind of terrible. Like, that's going to come off as super atrocious. And the fact that you have those thoughts are pretty disturbing. But you should probably keep those to yourself and not say them publicly. No one was there to be like, hey, dude, yeah, exit. He said that into a microphone in public, knowing he's an elected representative, and thought, this is fine. Wow, that happens. 2019, stuff like that happens. You wonder why our system's where it's at. You wonder why President Trump tweets the things he tweets. Why stuff like this happens. Why? You wonder why. Because you have people like Steve King. They are elected officials. And this is what, and I'm sure the Democrats are going to find nothing to run against him. They're gonna find somebody who promises nothing to run against him. I mean, so many times you're choosing between snake oil or no oil at all. You're choosing between lies or just nothing. And eventually people are so desperate, they take a chance on the lies. That's why Donald Trump won in the first place. People were so desperate that they took a chance on the bogus promises he was making. Pennsylvania went red for the first time in a presidential since 1988. He was promising to reopen the steel mills. He was promising all the steel mills have been closed for 40 years. He's saying he's going to reopen them. It was absolutely crazy. But people took a chance on it because they were desperate. And they remember what NAFTA did to them. They remember that. They know that Hillary Clinton was promoting fracking around the world. So they took a chance on a snake oil salesman. And this is our system. This is our system. Where you have two parties, both propped up by Wall Street, both in bed with billionaires and the 1% and the donor class. And you have to choose. Do you want the fascist right-wing party or the right-wing party? Make a choice. Have fun. And then you get people like Steve King. Dude's in office. Dude's an elected official. Makes statements like that. So We got some okay fun news today to end our week. And here's something. You guys know that I love libraries. I love we talk about libraries. I actually have a book on hold for me at the library. So I put a hold on this book. It wasn't supposed to come in until the end of August because someone else had it out. So I didn't think much of it. Came in earlier and they emailed me. They were like, hey, your hold's here. I totally spaced it because I wasn't expecting the book. And now it is past the hold date. So I need to call my library, see if that hold is in fact still there, and say, I'm really sorry. I will be by this weekend. It came in early. I did not realize. Thank you for holding it for me. Or if you didn't, I'll just re-up the hold. I'll make the hold again. But I love libraries. I love them to death. Here's something kind of funny and kind of cool that a library is doing. Check it out. This is some kind of fun news here. A public library receipt shows how much money you saved by borrowing instead of buying books. So check it out. This is a library receipt, and it's the Wichita Public Library that's doing it. So they just say, so they have The Adventures of Robinson Crusoe. Someone took that out. You just saved $164.80 just from that one title. Man, I know it's long. I know Robinson Crusoe. I mean, that's a series of books, I'm pretty sure. I've read bits and pieces of it, but it was like back in grade school, so I'm not really remembering. I'm pretty sure it's a series of books, though. It's been years. It's literally been over 2 decades. So, don't hold it against me that I don't remember the anatomy of that book. But $164. Okay, so this person saved $1,300, over $1,300 this year, and over $7,000 since they began using the library. That is pretty cool. The Wichita Public Library is doing this. This other person, here's another receipt they showed. The person saved $216. And this person, man, this is a heavy library user here. They saved $25,573.23 this year. Man, I want to be like that person. That is a die-hard library user. 25 grand. 25 grand. So the Wichita Public Library, let's see what they have to say about this. While libraries offer tremendous benefits to their community, sometimes the benefits are more abstract or require long-term studies to show the value of their programs. This is from Jennifer Lane, the communication manager at Wichita Public Library. Including this information is a way to easily quantify one of the ways the library is of value to its users. So, I mean, I gotta say, in some ways, and I'm totally not trying to be a Debbie Downer here because I think this is a funny story. I think it's fun. I think it's funny and cool that it's happening. But to be a little bit of a Debbie Downer, I think it's kind of sad that libraries felt like they should do this. You know what I mean? Like I think it's not the library's fault. It's the fault of again, our government and our donor class who constantly want to cut funding for libraries. We need more bomb money and we need more Wall Street money. So let's cut funding for the libraries. That happens all the time. They constantly talk about wanting to cut funding for libraries. Meanwhile, libraries are such a huge value to every community. And you know what? I'm going to use myself right now as an example. I never got one of these receipts that tells me how much money I saved. But you know how much money I spent on books when I was in graduate school? You know how much? Does anyone want to take a guess? So those of you who are regulars to the show, you already know the answer to that, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I spent a whopping total of graduate school. This was a graduate program, grad school, 2 years. Most classes required about 7 books. Some of them we would just read like one chapter in it, but they wanted you to have the book anyway. How much did I spend? You ready for this? $30. $30. I spent $30 on books in grad school. Total. 2 years. Not per year. Total. Ron, did they fund your book? No. I had tuition remission because I was an assistant with the department. So, it was like one of those assistantships where you get tuition remission, they give you health insurance, and they give you a living stipend. And believe me, it was just that, a living stipend. It was just enough money to survive on. But it was great. I really enjoyed graduate school. I look back on it very fondly. Glad I didn't continue, but I look back on it very fondly. I spent $30 because I used the libraries. And a lot of these books I was getting, I'll be honest, they were kind of like very heavy, dense academic books that nobody wanted. So I was able to just keep renewing them. And they knew what was going on. They were like, you're a student. We get it. I would just keep renewing. I was like, oh man, I'm really getting into it. I haven't finished it yet somehow. Renew, 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 renew. They didn't mind. No one else wanted the book. I spent $30. $30 thanks to my libraries. And this wasn't here in Los Angeles, by the way. This was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So it's not like, oh, well, Los Angeles, there's a bunch of libraries. No, this was just in Pittsburgh, just an average mid-sized city, nothing crazy fancy. Good library system, great library system, but it's not like it was not anything crazy fancy. $30. So yeah, your libraries are a huge asset. You can, one of my favorite comics, like one of my favorite holiday comics, like just a little web comic, and I don't know who started it, but there's this kid sits on Santa Claus's lap, and he goes, Santa, this year for Christmas, I want to explore the world. I want to uncover mysteries. I want to learn languages. I want to pursue the depths of humankind. I want to know about the world. And Santa Claus hands him a library card. Such a cool comic. The kid goes on and on for a couple panels about all the things he wants to do, all the things he wants to explore, and Santa hands him a library card. And hey, man, my retirement plan, I got to tell you, if we're still on this planet by the time I'm that old, is to just finally get fluent in Italian. I'm conversational. I am not fluent. Big difference. I am conversational. I am not fluent. But I want to get fluent in Italian, and I want to just go to my library and just read as much as I can. Travel when I feel like it. Although, I feel like I really want to do all my traveling, like now, like between now and then, and I plan on exploring the planet as long as I can, and I plan on doing stand-up comedy until I can no longer stand up, literally. I plan on doing that forever. But I might not travel as much as I get older. I might be a little more rooted. I don't know. Maybe the opposite is true. Maybe I'll travel even more. But anyway, libraries are a huge value. And here in Wichita, they're showing people their dollar amount. I think that's a pretty cool, fun idea. I think that's pretty neat. But I also wish that people really realized, and our leadership reflected that libraries are a huge value and a huge asset and should never be messed with. And if anything, if there's any alterations in funding for libraries, it should be funding them more. It should be an increase. Funding for libraries should go up each year. And that should be required, full stop. That's what I think. Because libraries are a huge value to the community. All right. So that's a kind of like funny, goofy, fun story. Now here's some more good news. Guys, here's some election news, and I'm pretty stoked about this. Check it out. Somebody just got another dose of self-awareness. So keep in mind, Eric Swalwell was the first person. Howard Schultz, too, got a little bit of self-awareness, bailed out soon. But this guy, guess who else is gone? Check it out. John Hickenlooper is gone. Wait a second. Let me get over to the thing. Oh, is it just a video? I thought I had an article here. Oh, all right. Well, I guess we'll watch the video then. Here we go. Oh, I guess it. Hickenlooper is. Here we go. Sorry about that. We'll start it from the beginning.
Shakeup in the Democratic presidential race so far. It involves a candidate.
All right.
Hickenlooper is dropping out of the race. Political exclusive news on Twitter about 2 hours ago. A source tells Sean that Hickenlooper will make the announcement tomorrow. Hickenlooper is lagging far behind the rest of the crowded Democratic field, would most likely not qualify for the next debate. He is the biggest name to end his campaign.
Big question now, will Hickenlooper run for Senate? Republican Senator Cory Gardner is up for re-election next year. Hickenlooper could join the field of Democrats hoping to unseat him. According to Sean, Hickenlooper has not made a decision yet on whether to enter that race.
Hickenlooper. First of all, by the way, calling him the biggest person to drop out of the race, that's being very generous, by the way. That's being very generous to him, referring to him as that. Like, oh, he's one of the biggest names to drop out of the race. Yeah, but after the top leaders, there's a huge drop off. There's a huge drop off. And he was polling at about 1 or 2%. John Hickenlooper, man, it's ironic. The person who made fun of Bernie for throwing up his arms is now throwing up his arms when it comes to his campaign. Bye-bye, John Hickenlooper. Bye-bye. Who would have thought the guy who got on the national scene when he mentioned how he watched a porn with his mom, that was his big leap into fame, talking about watching a porn with his mom. Who would have thought that guy wouldn't be able to get very far? The guy who tells you about all the things we can't have. The guy who gets booed every time he speaks. Who would have thought that guy wouldn't get very far? I did. We did. He's gone now. He's out of the race. Good. And guess what? John Hickenlooper beat John Delaney in the race to self-awareness. John Delaney is now the biggest laughingstock in the Democratic race. There's a lot of them too, by the way. He's leading a clown car. He's the head clown in a clown car in that primary because they're still playing. But at least the corporate back candidates, at least they realize, hey, the superdelegates got our back and stuff like that. John Delaney is parroting their horrible corporatist message, but he's even worse because everybody hates him. He doesn't have a shot in hell. Just drop out. I mean, they got the centrist, corporatist, neoliberal apologist thing covered, John Delaney. They got that covered. The superdelegates are already waiting to cheat for them. They don't need you. John Hickenlooper realized that today. John Hickenlooper realized that. There's enough. They got enough ways to cheat Bernie. They don't need me. John Hickenlooper realized that. Good for John Hickenlooper. And I wish John Delaney would follow suit. But John Hickenlooper out of the race today. Boom. So, yeah. You guys get it. David Vincent, thank you very much for the Super Chat contribution. We start referring to the current POTUS as merely the face of the ruling class and nothing more. I dislike so much he still directs the public narrative. I like that. The face of the ruling class. That's pretty cool. Calling the president the face of the ruling class. I dig that. I like that, David. That's really cool. Thank you for that. Mo Mooney says, Trump gives King's incest speech 2 thumbs up. Nice. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Mo Mooney. Right on. Love it. Guys, tour dates. I got them. You guys know this. Tour dates. I got them. September 4th, we're going to be in Omaha, Nebraska. That's myself and Graham Elwood. September 5th, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. September 6th, Madison, Wisconsin. September 7th, Minneapolis, Minnesota. September 8th, Iowa City, Iowa. Get your tickets now. Do not wait. We're coming to the upper Midwest in September. Can't wait to see you. November, we're coming to Australia. So stoked. Australia, all tickets are available now. Perth, Melbourne, Sydney, and Adelaide. Get your tickets now, ronplacone.com. And I'm going to be announcing 2020 dates really soon. If you want to support this show on the sustainability end, please do consider becoming a patron. For Give What You Can level, you get all kinds of exclusive content, including my album, including dialogues between myself and Lucy. And you help me expand this show. I want to expand. I want to do more streams. I want to do more interviews. I want to have more guests. Patreon.com/Ron Placone if you are so able to help me expand this ship. If not, I totally get it. Your support and watching this show is awesome. Please like these videos, share, make sure you're subscribed, watch it in a separate window, have an autoplay window going so that all the ads play through. And don't just do that for me, do that for all the content creators you know and love because it helps sustain our channels. Guys, it is Black Cat Appreciation. It is Black Cat Appreciation Day this Saturday, so please head over to LucyandRon.com and check out what Lucy has to say about it. I'll go grab her for you guys. Lucy, here, let's see if she comes and I don't have to grab her. Lucy, come here. Come on. Oh, you're not going to do it right now. She's done it in the past. You guys know this. You've seen her do it before. Come on, Lucy. Come on, Lucy. Hey, Lucy. Come on, are you doing it? She's not going to do it. All right, I got to go get her. So everyone can wish her a happy Black Cat Appreciation. Lucy, come here. I know. You're like, it's time to brush me and give me a treat. I want to be brushed and I want a treat. Check it out. There she is. Wish her a happy Black Cat Appreciation Day. That's coming up on Saturday, Lucy. I'm going to a Bad Religion show, but I will have presents for you. It'll be great. All right. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for all the well wishes. Lucy says, happy Black Cat Appreciation Day. LucyandRon.com. Hear what she has to say about it. That's the website for our webcomic that I do along with Inks Pixels. So check that out if you haven't yet. LucyandRon.com. See the illustrated comics. We'll be back next week. Same time, same channel. You know the drill. I'll see you on Monday for Music Monday. And until then, you have a good weekend. And you know how it goes. Lucy says meow. I say peace. Peace.